Atalan Adventures, written by Richard Brewin, narrated by John Delino Ziegler, Jr. Chapter 1. The car came to a stop on the driveway outside the picturesque little cottage, the gravel crunching underneath the wheels of the white family saloon signaling its arrival. The car looked like it had just completed an off-road rally stage, its bright white paintwork now a mucky shade of brown. It may have been the middle of summer, but like so often with the great British weather, there had been plenty of rainfall, causing the country lanes, which had to be navigated to reach this destination, to become a slalom of puddles. The car belonged to the James family. Jackie and Peter sat in the front, and their daughter Isla was in the back, gazing out of the window, looking exceptionally bored. Isla turned to watch her dad wrestle with the handbrake. This was something that seemed to happen every time they finished a journey. The ritual was always the same. Dad struggling to lift the handbrake, while Mum told him, "You should really get that looked at." And his response always the same, "It's just a bit stiff, that's all," before Mum would have the last word by saying, "One of these days the car will roll away." Isla smiled to herself. She often imagined coming out of the family home one day and finding that the car had vanished after Dad had lost the battle with the brake and it had simply rolled away down the hill. She could hear Mum now telling Dad, "I told you so," and giving him one of those looks that only mums can give. Once Dad was happy that he was safely parked and there was no danger of it rolling away and ending up in a neighbor's bush, he climbed out of the car and threw his arms out wide and arched his back to stretch his weary body. He let out a noise that sounded somewhat of a combination of a yawn and a sigh. "Yah!" The noise made Isla chuckle as she fiddled with her seatbelt. Mum opened the passenger door and beckoned Isla out. She grabbed her backpack and shuffled out into the heat of the summer afternoon. The rain had stopped, and the sun was now beating down, causing a rainbow to form in the sky over the cottage. The cottage belonged to Isla's Grandma Mary, and, as the wooden sign that hung on the wall by the front door proudly announced, it was named Willow Cottage, mainly due to the large weeping willow tree that stood in the middle of the immaculately kept front garden. Isla loved this tree and spent many hours in the past sitting underneath it writing stories and drawing pictures as the branches cascaded down like a floral umbrella all around her. It would be the perfect place for a game of hide-and-seek, Isla had often thought to herself. It was a shame she didn't have anyone to be the seeker. Every summer in the school holidays, Isla would spend a few days here while her parents had to work. It wasn't as if she hated coming to Willow Cottage and spending her time with her grandma. It just wasn't the most exciting of places for a 10-year-old girl. She would much rather be at home hanging out with her friends or, if not doing that, at least sitting in her bedroom texting and FaceTiming them or Snapchatting them selfies complete with bunny ears, halos, and giant licking tongues. If she wasn't talking with her friends, she would be making and playing with slime, or watching children on YouTube making and playing with slime, which was a pastime that seemed to baffle her parents. Unfortunately, there would be no such slime activities at Grandma's, as it was banned ever since the great slime explosion last Christmas. Turkey and slime certainly wasn't a Christmas delicacy that anyone wanted to taste again in a hurry. As well as the lack of slime, there also would be no communicating with her friends, as you could never get a signal at Willow Cottage. And Grandma didn't have Wi-Fi or, according to Isla, had probably never even heard of the internet. In fact, there wasn't even a television set here. The last one had stopped working a few years ago and had never been replaced. Isla had often asked her grandma why she didn't have a TV, and her dad had offered to buy her a new one on numerous occasions, but she
Sample complete. Ready to continue?